Hello everyone, welcome to Hort Americas TV. My name is Karla Garcia, Hort Americas Technical Service, and today I will teach you a little about the water source in your hydroponic system. Your water source can really affect your hydroponic production and management. Therefore, it's very important to test your water before starting any hydroponics project. This is just in order to know if you need to fix anything or treat your water before starting your system. Most of the time, our water will come from different sources, such as public utility, water from wells, from the rain, and also we have the option of surface water. So each of these options can present different characteristics, so let's learn about each of them. The first option is water from public utility. So this is a common option, but this option can be expensive. So you need also to consider that before anything else. But it's an easy option. So water from public utility is treated with chemicals such as chlorine. This is to avoid illness in people due to the presence of some pathogens that can affect our health. So this is good for the people that will consume the water, but when chlorine is in high levels, this can affect our plants. There are some crops that are sensitive to chlorine, and also chlorine can change the pH. So there are ways to treat this, and not in all cases you need to treat the water. So we will speak a little bit more about chlorine in the next slides. Then we have water from wells. So this is a common option for growers that are working in rural areas. The water from wells can be a good option, but sometimes this water can be high in minerals, such as carbonates. So other important aspect is that this water doesn't have any treatment, just like the municipal water with the chlorine. So the problem that you can have with well water is that you can have some pathogens there. And these pathogens can affect, if you sell the product, can affect the people that will consume the product, and also can affect your plants. I mean, you can carry some pathogens that can affect your plants, like fungi or bacteria. So you also need to consider that, and that is why it's also important to check your water source, in this case from wells. Then we have the option of rainwater. So rainwater can have great quality, is free of additive, is low in mineral content. So basically, it's in great condition to be used in hydroponics. If you collect water and you are very close to a sea, then you can have high sodium levels, but most of the time you won't have any problems. You also need to check how you collect the water, because the roof where the water is moving can also add some minerals to the water. But this is a good option. The only difficult thing is that depending where you are located and your weather, can be hard to collect like a big amount of water from the rain. So if you can do it, that is great. I mean, you can use this water definitely for your hydroponic system, but it's a challenge to collect the amount of water that your system will demand. Our last common option is surface water. So surface water refers to the water coming from rivers, lakes, or canals. The quality can be really different, going from really good quality and also can have like a really poor quality. In some places, it can be high in salts. Also can be high in carbonate sometimes, and you have the same issue as water from wells. You need to check for pathogens. So if this river is close to a rural area or also to a horticultural area, you need to pay attention because you can have problems with pathogens that are linked to horticulture or also to people. But how exactly minerals such as carbonates or chlorine can affect your crop? And how can you fix this before starting your production? When testing your water, you should focus on the following aspects. I mean, when you get your results, you need to check the levels of chlorine, different minerals, alkalinity. You also need to check for bacteria and pathogens, electrical conductivity, and pH. Chlorine. As I mentioned before, chlorine can be present in municipal water. There is not always, the case that chlorine will be high in municipal water, but you need to check the water in order to know how much chlorine can the water contains. Chlorine in high quantities can damage sensitive crops such as lettuce and strawberry. So let's try to keep chlorine levels in our water source at less than 70 ppm. If your levels are higher, you can use a reverse osmosis system with active carbon to efficiently remove any chlorine excess. There are also different methods which include evaporation in order to reduce the levels of chlorine in your water source. Then we have bacteria and pathogens. It's important to know how clean is your water. This is because if you have pathogens in your water, this can affect your product quality, meaning that you can have like really poor quality in your product that can make people sick. And also, you can have a problem with your plants. You can carry some pathogens like fungi or bacteria that can cause diseases in your crop. So definitely we don't want that. So we need to check how clean is the water that we're introducing into our system. Then we have minerals. So minerals such as magnesium, potassium, nitrogen, these ones can be good for plants, but in high quantities can cause trouble. So remember that we will be adding fertilizer to the water source. So we need to start with a low amount of minerals in the water. In case we have high content of any of these minerals, it's not like a very bad thing because you can just adjust the formula. I mean, you can adjust your formula in order to keep all the nutrients balanced and within the range that is recommended for your crop. Then we have alkalinity. So this is also a mineral, but is related more to carbonates. Carbonates sometimes can be high in water from wells and rivers. The higher carbonate levels that you have, then you will have a higher pH. So the thing with high alkalinity levels is that it will be very hard to control pH in the system because the pH will tend always to go up. So you have to treat your water in case you have high alkalinity levels. It's recommended to treat your water with acid before using it in the system. Other option can also be to use ammonium-based fertilizers, which are known to keep the pH levels in your nutrient solution. Ammonium-based fertilizers tend to acidify the root media, and nitrate-based fertilizers tend to increase the root media, the pH in the root media. So that is why if you use ammonium fertilizers, you can help to keep the pH, because remember that if you have high alkalinity levels, the pH will tend to go up. But the most common way to treat this is with acid. So you can also use some tools in order to know, for example, how much acid you need to add in order to treat your water source. Here is a very friendly website from the University of New Hampshire, where you can easily get the amount of acid required to treat your water source. You just need to add some information here about your water source. This information you will get it from your test, and also to add your target pH for your system. Now let's speak about electrical conductivity, which is totally related to the final amount of salts in your water. Remember, you will be adding some fertilizer to your water source, which will increase EC levels. So we will try to have the less electrical conductivity that we can have from the water source. Some crops demand EC levels from 1 to 3 decisiemens, for example. So it is important to start with a water source with low electrical conductivity. In closed systems, we recommend to start from levels of 0.25 millisiemens or less. This is for closed systems. In open systems, you can be a little bit higher than this. In case you notice that your electrical conductivity is high, then what you can do is use filters or reverse osmosis in order to reduce salts. This is important because this can really affect when you add your fertilizers, then the EC will be very high. I mean, and there are some crops, for example, strawberry is a crop that works with a very, very low EC level. So it's very important. Always check your electrical conductivity levels in your water source and treat your water before using it in case electrical conductivity is high. Last but not least, we have pH. So pH will be the result of the presence of different salts in our source water. All crops have a specific pH requirement, mostly going from 5.4 to 7. So let's try to keep our source water close to this range. If pH is not within the range, we will affect the nutrient uptake, which will end in a nutrient deficiency. And obviously, this is something that we don't want in our system and in our plants. So now you know a little bit more about the important aspects to care of in our water source. I am finally here sharing a table with a summary of the recommended levels for water used in hydroponics. So let's try to get the results from our water test and try to have a result like the one we have in this slide. And remember, always is important to test your water before running your system. And in Hort Americas, we can provide you with all the tools to monitor and adjust your system to keep your root zone in perfect conditions. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe in order to continue learning about this fascinating world of horticulture. My name is Karla Garcia. Please get in contact if you have any questions. See you in our next video. Bye-bye.